There are three things that should remain constant. First, good, healthy food. Secondly, an environment free from pests or foreign invaders that threaten your livelihood. And finally, attitude that sees to the welfare of others. We're more than just individuals. We are a collective with a shared history that has shaped the things we say, do, think, and the way we live. I am Adrian Atkinson, and I'm here with another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Stay with us.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, February 21. Both of the country's major economic tracking agencies are reporting that Jamaica recorded growth in the range of 1 to 2% in the last quarter. At its quarterly briefing recently, the PIOJ said the economy grew by 1.1% in the October to December period, and the BOJ today estimated growth of between 1 and 2%. The final confirmed figures will be released later by the Statistical Institute. In the meantime, the Planning Institute's Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, says the projection points to the strongest quarterly outturn for the 2017 calendar year.
This follows on real GDP growth of 0.8% recorded in the previous quarter and indicates a continuation of a recovery from the effects of heavy rainfall and flooding in the first half of the year, which adversely impacted production in several industries.
With the exception of producers of government services, all sectors are estimated to have grown for the quarter, with the tradable industries projected to have registered a faster pace of growth than non-tradables. Looking ahead, the central bank is forecasting that real GDP will expand within the range of 2 to 3% for the 2018-2019 financial year, with further strengthening projected over the medium term. The pace of expansion is largely predicated on sustained strong growth in the economies of Jamaica's major trading partners, particularly the U.S., in addition to further improvement in domestic labor market conditions and ongoing economic reforms. The growth outlook will also benefit from positive trends in business and consumer confidence, which the BOJ says should be conducive to a greater level of investment over the near to medium term. The bank is also forecasting that inflation will remain relatively stable over the next 4 quarters, despite improved demand conditions and the lagged effects of agriculture supply shocks.
The most recent information from Statin indicates that headline inflation at January 2018 was 4.8%. Over the course of the next year, the bank expects inflation to continue to track around the lower half of the 4% to 6% target, before rising to around 5%.
Education Minister Senator Roel Reid is predicting high levels of productivity and growth for Jamaica, resulting from the multitude of skills training and certification programs being offered by the Heart Trust NTA.
I think with all that we're doing here to train and certify our persons to international standards, preparing ourselves for the World Skills Competition, then Jamaica will see high levels of productivity and growth at our GDP per capita.
The minister was speaking at a welcome dinner for international delegates participating in the National Careers Week and Skills Competition at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston recently. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is projecting that the upcoming opening of the Excellence Group Luxury Hotels and Resorts Oyster Bay property will further raise the country's stock as a premier destination for luxury travel. The $110 million hotel will open in Trelawney on June 1. It follows a flurry of openings in 2017 with luxury brands such as the Jewel Grand Montego Bay Resort and Spa, Zoetry Montego Bay, and Breathless Montego Bay. Ground was broken for the 315-room Oyster Bay property last March. Built on a private peninsula and located just 35 minutes from the Sangster International Airport, Excellence Oyster Bay will offer nightly entertainment and daily activities. Approximately $647 million has been allocated in the 2018-2019 national budget to address HIV among persons most at risk. The funds will provide targeted interventions under the HIV Prevalence in Most at-Risk Population Reduced project. The project is financed jointly by the government and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. Targets for the new fiscal year include the provision of HIV testing and counseling services, including individual and/or small group level HIV preventative interventions. In addition, 2,500 adults and children will be enrolled to receive antiretroviral therapy, while continued care will be provided for 14,650 adults and children currently receiving therapy. And finally, plans are being made to provide greater intervention and support to the growing number of foster youth and families in Jamaica.
We continue to see an upward trend of children coming into the sector due to behavioral issues. Our aim is not to place children in the sector, but to work with families through training, counseling, and ongoing interactions so that we can have better parents, progressive children, and a prosperous Jamaica.
The Mayor of May Pen was speaking on behalf of Education, Youth and Information State Minister Floyd Green. He was addressing the recently held Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA's National Foster Week Church service held at the Palmer's Cross Seventh-day Adventist Church in May Pen. National Foster Care Week 2018 was observed from February 11 to 17 under the theme Inspire Hope, Foster a Child. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Mommy? Yes, sweetie? How can I change my world?
You can change your world by being polite.
Good morning.
Good morning. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Miss.
With just one action.
We can change the world with acts of random kindness.
Stay kind, act kind, be kind.
What was that saying about the magic penny? Love is like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, or give it away, and it comes right back to you. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is encouraging you to do just that by giving in kindness.
So many times we sit and we talk and we say, hey, I would love for Jamaica to be this kind of place. But what are you really doing? What type of Jamaica do you want to see?
We're hoping to use art to teach Jamaica that it's not the thunder that grows the flower, it's the gentle rain. We want Jamaica to stop thundering for everything and start to put forth gentle rain, especially in the lives of our youth.
This gentle rain is the Acts of Random Kindness initiative being put forward by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, a program that inspires and encourages expressions of kindness.
Our project comes out of our youth empowerment and mentorship program, where we're teaching our youngsters to know themselves, to know their purpose, to understand that it is important to cultivate attitudes of kindness, gratitude, and respect, as well as to put themselves on a good destiny, a life path.
The Youth Empowerment and Mentorship Program uses the iPad Summer Camp to teach resilience and social skills to children from at-risk communities.
If we can show you an act of kindness when you were young, if you were to reciprocate this act of kindness to somebody else, what a wonderful Jamaica this could be.
We saw a youth leader in the camp who decided to take responsibility for the lack of a belt on one of his team's part, and said, you know what, you have my belt and I will then take the responsibility for the consequences. It's like an evolution and a revolution all at once, because they made revolutionary changes to their behaviors as opposed to when they just came on day one, day two. And you could start to see them evolving into being kind and gentler youth.
Action means identity, purpose, attitude, and destiny. So with the attitude, you have, I will show respect, kindness, and gratitude. It's important because most youths are growing up in very disturbing societies where a level of kindness and love isn't shown. So the camp actually gives us that love that is missing from our lives and help us to reflect this on others as well.
We want our youth to do tangible acts of random kindness, to be kindness ambassadors in their schools and communities. This will in turn raise the awareness in adults that they too should be agents of change.
We are challenging Jamaica to engage in a very self-conscious way in acts of random kindness amongst adults and towards our children. We want you to think kind, Jamaica. We want you to act kind. We want you to be kind.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
You have to have kindness in your heart. You have to be compassionate towards people. Some persons really need it. A little act of kindness sometimes motivates somebody else.
So we want our youngsters at school, at home, and at play to think kind, act kind, and be kind. It is a message that needs to be self-conscious.
We are inviting you, youth, adults, business places, to take up your link in the chain and bring this initiative to life. Respond with smiles, hugs, positive affirmations, and acts of kindness to transform relationships in homes, schools, the workplace. Transform relationships right across Jamaica.
If we want a kinder, gentler Jamaica, where all of us want to live, work, and raise family, it is important that each and every one of us start to think about the words that we speak to our children. Start with a kind word. Start by giving a smile and saying good day. Start by saying thank you. Start by giving a hug. Where you can be a mentor, just listen to their concern. Show that you have some degree of understanding and empathy.
Be conscious, be aware. The cost to being kind is a state of mind.
A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Africa for the Africans, at home and abroad. Chance has never yet satisfied the hope of a suffering people. Marcus Garvey. Your mental pictures, ideas, understanding and appreciation of the past is what will make you into men and women earnest and not afraid of the consequences, thus creating the environment to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
A main staple in our economic diet is our agriculture, and we have to ensure that what is brought to the table is in the best interest of all stakeholders. In light of this, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries is ensuring that plant quarantine officers are equipped with need-to-know in intersecting pest threats at our various ports of entry.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, through its Plant Quarantine Produce Inspection Branch, hosted a 4-day pest risk analysis training session in Kingston recently. The workshop was used to sensitize plant quarantine officers in the principle and methodology of pest analysis as the basis for establishing phytosanitary measures for Jamaica. This is to protect our borders and establish documented guidelines on import permit forms to restrict pests coming to Jamaica.
We take this thing very seriously, and our commitment from the ministry is to do all that we can to put this division, this unit in a position to be able to effectively and efficiently safeguard the nation's plant health status.
And so the pest risk analysis training is equipping us as practitioners to do the relevant pest risk analysis in a scientific way in order to provide the necessary quarantine, you could say mitigating positions on our import permits in order to have us comfortable and our importing public comfortable.
The pool of trainees was drawn from various divisions in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Participants will be able to use all the relevant scientific information to help us decide on how to address informing a customer why we are not allowing a particular import or what phytosanitary conditions we are going to institute if we are going to allow them to import a particular item.
It gives me now the tool to better able to make some of those decisions, and some of these decisions they are very important to protecting our citrus industry.
Funding and technical assistance for the workshop was provided by the European Union's Development Fund program.
We endeavour to strengthen Jamaica and the region's potential as a fully fledged trade partner for the EU. This project is one important component of that endeavour, and it has broader advantages in the longer run.
The training is part of the EU's Regional Sanitary and Phytosanitary Project and is being managed by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA.
The SPS project seeks to assist the CARIFORUM states to gain and improve market access by complying with Europe's sanitary and phytosanitary measures and to develop and strengthen regionally harmonized SPS measures.
The local workshop provided a forum for discussion on the establishment of a pest risk analysis handbook and decision scheme for Jamaica.
The decision scheme that we are hoping to have as a deliverable from this training is to allow us to have a formal way of addressing imports, particularly with how we make the decision whether it is an insect or a bacteria or a virus. How do we make the decision after analyzing the risk, whether it is medium, low or high? And the handbook will be a structured way of doing a pest risk analysis. So the handbook is going to be giving us the confidence in approaching each step where the pest might come in.
The overarching aim of the pest risk analysis training is to protect the agriculture sector by safeguarding our plant stock from pests. The long-term benefit is that Jamaica would have improved its phytosanitary export and import certification. This will also provide better security, reporting functions and monitoring capabilities for plants, plant products or other regulated commodities leaving or entering the country.
Farmers across Jamaica, listen to this. Recent rains have increased your crop growth, but guess what? Beet armyworms are marching forth. Check your crops for egg sacs before they hatch into tiny worms and eat the leaves from the inside. Catch them now before they grow. For information, contact your nearest RADA office or the RADA toll-free line at 1-888-ASK-RADA. That's 1-888-275-7232. Or contact the Research and Development Division Plant Protection Unit at Bodles in St. Catherine at 983-2267 or 983-2281.
3 blind mice, see how they run. They all run after the farmer's wife. Oh, and what she does next is not for the weak of heart. So, your option may be seek out pest control alternatives. The Pesticides Control Authority gives insight into the do's and don'ts of pesticide use, manufacturing and distribution.
Pest control practices using hazardous substances require us to take necessary safety precautions to protect our health. Any misguided idea as to the danger that can result from toxic pesticides must be dismissed from our minds, as we can be caught off guard by the lengthy period that might elapse before any signs of illness sets in. At the level of government, the Pesticides Control Authority (PCA) is the entity enforcing the necessary safeguards by regulating importation, manufacturing, sale and use of pesticides.
The issue of pesticides usage poses several benefits to our society, but also can pose several challenges also, because for every positive that it represents in terms of controlling adverse conditionalities, it also, if used improperly, can lead to challenges within the environment and also affect the citizens, the persons who use or persons who are exposed.
The Pesticides Control Authority partners with local and international bodies to fulfill its regulatory functions. That includes establishing the conditions under which these substances can be safely administered.
Our website www.caribpesticides.net has a list of all registered products, and each month the board of the Pesticides Control Authority considers new products, and when they are approved, they are added each month to that website list. And occasionally we will remove products that were previously registered, and that's a monthly process as well. In addition, the Pesticides Review Committee goes through and looks at the more toxic ones and decides whether to recommend to the board to phase them out or not.
We have 48% of products which are used in agriculture sector, which belongs to the class 4, which is least toxic products. On opposite end, the most toxic products, we have only 1.2% remaining in the system.
The most toxic pesticides are restricted and only authorized persons are allowed to use them, having been trained and certified by the authority. The PCA also certifies private applicators of pesticides, including farmers. Persons handling and applying pesticides are required to follow all the instructions on the label and must wear the designated safety gear. At hand at all times should be protective clothing, gloves, boots, and eyeglasses. Application should be done in a manner that limits human contact.
We have seen persons being poisoned, basically, because of adverse exposure. Take, for example, rodents and the substance that is used to get rid of rodents. If it's placed in the wrong place, it does affect those who are exposed to it. And in fact, the data that I've seen show that on average about 40 persons a year are affected adversely because of the inappropriate application of that particular pest control substance.
Pesticides approved by the PCA are more easily monitored to ensure health and safety, but those that are illegally concocted and made available commercially or imported pose significant risks for unsuspecting consumers.
The problem with these, as far as the persons buying it should be concerned, is they don't really know what they are getting. So for example, we have bought a rat bait that we saw being sold that is locally manufactured illegally, and when tested in the lab there was nothing in there that could kill a rat. So the persons buying that product were only feeding the rats. The other problem we have is that there are illegal pesticides coming in through the ports, or through other avenues, I suppose. Biggest problem are the black mosquito coils. The problem with them is that we have not got any application to have them registered, so we don't really know how much of a health risk they are. But we have got some reports that especially children and people with respiratory problems have been affected In fact, they are probably just too good. So they affect not only the mosquitoes and the flies, but the humans as well. Some of them contain active ingredients that we know that are a real problem, and even if an application came in to register them, we would not want to do so. Then there's some other things such as this chalk, which a child would think is a regular piece of chalk that they see at their school. Then there are some things that are in plastic bottles. These are very common. Again, the wristbands, that's not a registered product.
Persons are also placed at high risk when products are removed from their original manufacturer's container and repackaged inappropriately.
And again, how does a person buying something like that know that what they are getting is the real thing?
Even within the household, it's a dangerous practice to transfer pesticides to things like soda bottles or plastic bags for storage.
Unfortunately, children in the home can get a hold of it. And children end up in hospital all the time because of that problem, particularly eating rat bait.
It has to be locked away and properly labeled. We also recommend to the farmers use very simple, inexpensive methods of storage. You don't need to be very, elaborate or fancy. You can use just maybe old shelf of refrigerator or old filing cabinet or just simply wooden box.
For its part, the Pesticides Control Authority regularly collects samples of local and imported agricultural foods to test for residual pesticide levels. Farmers are encouraged to do their own due diligence by first determining the percentage of pesticide to use and following the label instruction for things such as dilution rates and the correct time to spray. The PCA provides simplified information to help in this process.
We have done a mini survey to determine what possible practices the farmers are doing that could be causing the problem, and then we are going to be training them specifically in those.
Farmers can also minimize the use of pesticides by practicing biological and cultural control methods, such as barrier crops, sticky traps, and crop rotation. Whether for commercial use, on the farm, or in the home, make pesticide use a last resort. Or, failing that, make it a priority to handle pesticides safely, because the life saved could just be your own. For more information, you can visit the Pesticides Control Authority website at caribpesticides.net. You can also email pca@cwjamaica.com.
This closes today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, but if you missed something, visit our YouTube channel and connect with us on our social media sites as well as our Android and Apple apps. On behalf of the entire JIS team, I'm Adrian Atkinson reminding you that the black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.